skin, because the skin itself and all this stuff we feel here, this is all part of the trigeminal
Perfect.
nerve's job. So when I close my eyes and I touch my face, that's trigeminal nerve. But the muscles for facial expression are the ones we're looking at now. Those are all controlled by the facial nerve, okay? So different innervation. And this is saved here as a preset. So I'm gonna go through these and I'll highlight them each as we go through them and talk through them. If for some reason I missed something that's on your list, just let me know and we'll go through it, okay? Now these aren't saved as presets on all the tables, it's on this one. So the very first thing we see here on the top, it's highlighted in red, is the occipitofrontalis muscle. That muscle itself, it runs from the front all the way to the back, the occiput. But only a small portion is a muscle in the front and in the back. Okay, so there's a big part of fascial connecting over the top of our scalp that goes to the back. Now, if you look at your list, it just says occipitofrontalis, which means if I tag any of that, that's what we're going with, occipitofrontalis. Now, if we look at the base of the occipitofrontalis in between the two eyes, we see this muscle that's highlighted in green. This is the procerus muscle. So it's just located in between our two eyes, kind of superficial, and you'll even see on some of the models when we're looking at those that they'll run together with the frontalis or the frontal belly of the fronto-occipital muscle. Right beside there, another big muscle here in red is the orbicularis oculi. Orbicularis oculi muscle. Yeah, like, sort of. There's another thing that's up under it, but yeah, I guess you could think of it as that muscle there. Yeah. So again, orbicularis essentially is kind of what it sounds like. It's orbiting. It's like around the eye. Same thing we see here around the lips, or where the lips would be. We see the orbicularis oris muscle. So orbicularis oculi surrounding your eye. Orbicularis oris is surrounding the mouth. Now, if we remove the orbicularis oculi muscle to go a little deeper, we see this guy right through here, which is the corrugator supercilii muscle. So that muscle is located deep. And if you look online under the week 5 lab material, you'll see a video that shows one of the models where we can see that. It kind of looks like an eyebrow, and that's kind of in the general location that it's located. If I'm going too fast, let me know, okay? If you need to see something more, just let me know.
What's the name of the muscle?
So this right here is the corrugator supercilii muscle. It's a supercilii muscle. Everybody okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look right on top of the nose, you can see the nasalis muscle. There's typically a couple branches of those muscles, but we only care about it being the nasalis itself. The next two muscles that we're gonna see are both called levator labii superioris. Okay, so they're both levator labii superioris, meaning they're gonna elevate our lips. One is right beside the nose, and then one's coming essentially up under where the orbicularis oculi muscle is. So let's look at that one first. So here's the orbicularis oculi, and directly underneath it there in blue is that levator labii superioris muscle. Now the one right beside it there in yellow is this ginormous thing. Levator labii superioris, which is what we just saw, but we have to add the aliquot or aliquot, you can say it however you want, nasi muscle. That's how we differentiate the one that's right by the nose and actually contributes a portion to the nose, okay? Versus the other one that's connected here towards the orbicularis oculi. Okay, so I'm gonna untag it so we can see it right there in yellow. See that strip of muscle right through there? Levator labii superioris, aliquot nasi. I know it's a mouthful, but for whatever reason, you guys never miss that. For some reason, it's like that sticks in your head, but like procerus, it's like, what, you can't do that. I don't know why. We okay?
Mhm.
Maybe not happy, but at least you know where it's at, okay? Now, if we look a little bit lower, we're gonna see a couple muscles that are actually coming from the zygomatic bone, okay? So zygomatic bone right there. And we remember there's always a minor over a major. So here we see zygomaticus minor, and then just below it, we see in purple there the zygomaticus major. So zygomaticus minor is on top, and then we see the zygomaticus major just below it. Now there's a small muscle that's a little deep to there that you can kind of see moves at sort of like an angle, so it's moving down this way. That is the levator anguli oris. Levator anguli oris. And then we're also going to have the depressor anguli oris. So they both kind of run at that same angle, but one's coming from the top and one's going from the bottom. So again, the one up here that we can just barely see a portion of is the levator anguli oris. The one we see a little more inferior is going to be depressor anguli oris. And we already said that this guy right through here is the orbicularis oris muscle. And the lips would be attached to there. So we've already seen a couple of the ones that would go to the lips, but now we can also see this one here, which is the depressor labii inferioris muscle. And the little guy that we see there in blue on the mental protuberance is the mentalis muscle. Now there's one muscle that we're not really seeing here. We'll see it pretty well on the models. There's a muscle that kind of goes from the area of the masseter over here to the orbicularis oris, just like this. It's called the risorius muscle. We'll also see it kind of fused together with the platysma, because remember the platysma goes all the way up here around the mandible itself, and we'll see some of those fibers actually kind of go and connect to there. And we'll talk about that more in lab. Now, these are our muscles of facial expression. There's a couple other ones here by the ear that we can see. We have our superior auricular. We have our anterior auricular. And if we look behind the ear, we can even see the posterior auricular muscle. Now, your list just says auricularis, right? So all you have to do, if I tag any of those three, is you can say auricularis. If you want to be more specific and say superior, anterior, posterior, you're welcome to. You don't have to. It's totally up to you. Everybody okay with those muscles? I know it's a lot. Thankfully, there's a number of them that just kind of take on the name of where they're at, which is nice. Let's look at the muscles that are associated with mastication. So our chewing. Now, those muscles are being innervated by the trigeminal nerve. Remember, we had